So now we're going to go further down the constraints rabbit hole. Java is trying to do the best error protection that it can. And when we create code that just basically says, hey, we're going to pass in some type of object, Java's not a big fan of that. Now, what it will do is that the weakest constraint and weakest error checking that Java will do is make sure that E really ends up extending an object, which is the weakest thing, especially when almost everything in Java is an object. So it's still checking to make sure you don't put an integer like int with a lowercase int. It's still at least making sure you can't do that. So it's at least some error checking that's doing. But funny part is that it really will try to do our constraint, add items in there to further constrain it, to do some error checking during compile time in order to frankly make our code run better and all that good stuff. And, well, frankly, make sure it doesn't blow up in our face, too. So that's really what's happening behind the scenes with constraints, is adding just as much as it can for some type of error checking just to make sure that we're not passing in something that we shouldn't be. So all I'm doing here is showing you what you've actually seen before and all of the different types of constraints that we're showing. And again, one of the previous videos goes over it in pretty decent detail too. But again, you'll notice that it's going to have to, whatever class we end extends E, so it must be a subclass. So we have to really, we're doing constraints to make sure that we are trying to push things into the direction that we want to, and that frankly it'll work with the code that we give it. But I'm just showing you a whole bunch of different examples of what constraints can do in Java to, again, really make sure that frankly what we're putting in there fits exactly what we want it to do.